Sutton, Nash scores.
Rosario, the goal! Rosario has two! The header and the goal! Malcolm Shaw!
Burgess, the equalizer!
What a strike from Aidan Daniels!
On his right, champions again!
Hello, soccer fans from coast to coast of this beautiful country. We welcome another year, which is another journey beginning en route to being crowned Canadian champion. You're watching OneSoccer. I'm your host, Annie Petrillo. Standing by are some special guests who know a thing or two about hoisting the Voyageurs Cup. Tonight, it's the draw for the 16th edition of the Canadian Championship. 14 teams total will be competing. 12 in the first round as Toronto FC and the Vancouver Whitecaps earn byes as last year's finalists. And 2022 was special for Vancouver. Having won the national title only once before in 2015, they wanted to give their fans something to cheer for, and they delivered. Here's a look back at the Battle of the North for 2022.
Turn, shoots! What a strike from Meyer Bevan! To win it for Vancouver, and he does! Christian Gutierrez!
Tapped in by Akinola. The 2022 Canadian Championship between two very familiar foes. And as Blackman on his right, champions again! For the first time since 2015, Vancouver wins the Battle of the North.
Now I'm officially ready for the 2023 tournament. Joining us in our OneSoccer studio is the president of Canada Soccer, Nick Bontis. And we're excited about this year because it's also the largest it's ever been with 14 teams. What does that tell you about the growth of the sport in this country?
The growth is real, Andy. I'm excited too. Imagine where we were 12 months ago. It was winter, it was a global pandemic, stadiums at half capacity, and Canada was playing USA. And we beat them 2-0, if you remember.
Winner,
that's
winner.
right. And the men went on, top of the table in CONCACAF, went on to the World Cup in Qatar, first time in 36 years. The women, Olympic gold medalists, never to be taken away, about to leave for She Believes Cup in the U.S. and going to their own World Cup. So there's growth everywhere, Andy, including the growth as we look towards 2026. So absolutely, the Canadian Championships is the jewel of the crown in this country.
Results help with growth. This is a national title. That alone makes it special.
It's special also,
Yeah.
Andy, because they win the Voyageurs Cup, a beautiful trophy donated by the fans themselves. That's very special. It's also regionalized this year, so we're creating a little bit of conflict in the East, a little bit of conflict in the West, because the fans love that. Imagine TSS versus Vancouver FC, or even better, Vaughan versus York. How tasty would that be as a game? I'm really excited because it's about the growth of the game. Why? Little kids want to see superstars, and superstars, they play in the Canadian Championships, Andy.
We have two superstars in our studio as well. They know what it's like to hoist said Voyageurs Cup. That would be Terry Dunfield, Tosaint Ricketts, with our own superstar, Gareth Wheeler.
Yes. I was counting two superstars. Yeah, it's these guys. The two guys that have actually won the Voyageurs Cup. Thanks, Andy. Tosaint Ricketts, first off, congratulations. Announced his retirement officially from the game today. It's so great that you're sticking around, working with the Whitecaps. Plenty to offer the game in this country as we move forward. You've won the Voyageurs Cup 3 times. Terry, you lifted that beautiful trophy once over the course of your wonderful career. But let's start with you, Toss. So many great memories both playing and watching this competition.
So many great memories. I think back to 2016 when Will Johnson put his body on the line in the dying moments of the game, got injured, but got the win. And I think of BMO those special nights at BMO. It's cold. Seba getting the game winner in 2017, hearing the stadium erupt. Those are moments that I cherish forever, but last year was especially special for me. You know, the Vancouver Whitecaps haven't won hardware in a long time, so getting that trophy, adding it to the cabinet after 7 years without a trophy, it meant a lot to the organization and to the fans, so that was a special moment.
Doing it at home was special, and it seems like it's built some real positive momentum within the club as well.
Oh yeah, and we're trending in the right direction. You know, the core group of the players is there, solidified. They know the identity, they know what they need to do, and now it's time to make the playoffs and do something special. So I'm optimistic for this year.
Awesome. And we also got that classic Canadian Championship moment. Vanny Sartini, shirt off.
Barrel roll.
It used to be called the Terry Dunfield, but I think Sartini has it now. No. You should have done that. A goal scorer, Terry Dunfield, with the Vancouver Whitecaps in this competition. I'm shocked that we actually have the footage of this, and it's not in black and white. It's actually in color. Way back in 2011, Terry. A great tournament, and you had some wonderful times in it as well.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought first and foremost, it's an opportunity to be the king of Canada and real bragging right for 3 MLS teams playing in North America. So number one is, can you be the king of Canada? And also, Toss, what I love about the competition is just pure opportunity. And I've loved watching Pacific beat the Whitecaps, sorry man. It was an incredible performance. And then if you win the competition, going into the CONCACAF championships, and there's opportunity there to test yourself against some of the best Mexican sides. I remember a great two-legged tie against Santos Laguna, one of those BMO nights, and we were fighting afterwards, and we had to get security to go down there, and up until halftime, it was all going to plan.
Unfortunately, the games are 90 minutes. Look, you two, are putting you to task tonight. You're going to be taking part in the actual official draw, so people can praise or blame, do as you will. But two great guys, two great ambassadors. Both these guys, by the way, scored in a 2-2 draw against Ecuador for Canada back in 2011. So I'm expecting that kind of performance from both of you tonight.
It was my first goal.
Your first goal,
Back to the biggest superstar of them all. It's back to Andy Petrillo.
Oh, thanks, Wheels. Well, here's the thing. These guys, they have skills on the pitch. You just said it. But do they have some modeling skills? Because they're going to have to join our draw conductor. That's what we're getting to next here. It's the 2023 Canadian Championship draw right here on OneSoccer.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alphonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on OneSoccer.ca.
MLS sides continue to dominate the Canadian Championship, with Toronto FC claiming the Voyageurs Cup, a record 8 times. 5-time champ CF Montreal, they've lifted Canada's top soccer prize twice since 2018, winning a back-and-forth final against the Reds 2 years ago. Then the Vancouver Whitecaps, the most recent winners, who have won the Canadian Championship just twice. They topped TFC last year in penalties. As we welcome you back inside our OneSoccer studio, Andy Wheels with you, getting set for the 2023 Canadian Championship draw. Some newcomers to the tournament: TSS Rovers, winners of League One BC. You also have the winners of the Quebec Premier League, that would be Laval, and then representing League One Ontario, but they've been in it before, Wheels, that of course would be Vaughan. There is another new team in Vancouver. We'll get to them in just a second in the Canadian Premier League, but we also know that a team from the East is going to be playing in the West. Is that a good or bad thing?
Well, it makes a whole lot of sense, just alleviating travel concerns and scheduling concerns. So one team from the East will move over to play in that Western bracket of the draw. You got to look at CF Montreal. If you're a Western's team in this competition, you don't want Montreal to make that jump over based upon the pedigree of the MLS sides and how well they've done in this tournament. So it's a wrinkle in this draw, but it could be a decisive one in the way that this tournament plays out.
Well, let's talk about that Vancouver team, because people are going, wait a second, what about Vancouver Whitecaps? Did you just put the team twice? No. Vancouver FC is a new team. This will be their inaugural year in the Canadian Premier League. But the thing is, Wheels, when they play in the preliminary round of the Canadian Championship, it'll just be their second game ever. What are we realistically expecting?
We'll see. Like, it's a massive X factor. It's difficult for a lot of sides entering this tournament. Montreal's lost a core group of their players. TFC's going through an expensive rebuild. A new head coach in Halifax, who happens to be the former manager of Vaughan. So there's a lot of question marks. But when you're expansion side, you're just trying to figure out who you are and what your identity is. It's going to be difficult, but also difficult to prepare to play against. So they could be a real X factor when it comes to this tournament as well.
We're going to finalize the pots. We're going to find out who goes up against whom, and then we're going to let the competition begin. Will this be the year we finally see a CPL team lift the trophy over an MLS team? Let's get to the draw conductor, Richard Scott of Canada Soccer.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you to our 2 draw assistants. They're Canadian Championship winners, Terry Dunfield and Toss Ricketts. Thanks. Welcome, Toss. Welcome, Terry. And now both of you have played with 2 different sides of this competition. Of course, they are the 2 teams that have earned byes into the quarterfinals. The 2022 winners, Vancouver Whitecaps FC, and the runners-up, Toronto FC. So let's get started, and we'll begin by finalizing the pots for both a Western bracket and an Eastern bracket. From those 12 teams, 5 teams have committed to hosting matches in the first round in April, and they are in the West, Pacific FC and TSS Rovers FC, and in the East, Forge FC Hamilton, York United FC, and CF Montreal. So to organize 6 home and 6 away sides, there will be 2 steps to divide the 12 teams in 2 brackets. So before we do it, from the Western bracket, we will draw a home team from the East and move them into the West. Then from the Eastern bracket, we will draw either Ottawa or Halifax and move them into the home pot. And at the same time, we'll take our 2 semi-pro teams and move them into the away pot. So now we can move forward with the first 2 steps and finalize the pots. Toss, Terry, you guys are ready for this?
Do this.
Good. So let's.
Can you say that again, Ray?
Yes, all at once. We're going to run it through. So let's take, Terry, if you can take 1 team.
Thanks, Rich.
From pot, the Eastern pot here for the home sides.
Crossing this line.
All right.
And just place it for now into pot A1 with the other 2 Western teams. And now the next step, if you can just mix the 2 balls in pot B2. And we're going to move that team. It's either going to be Ottawa or Halifax. We don't know yet. And we move them into pot B1. And at the same time, you can take the 2 semi-pro teams and move them into the away pot. Put both of them in and take the other one too at the same time. And now that what we'll do, we have 2, both we have an Eastern bracket and a Western bracket. We have 3 home and 3 away sides on each. So now we can move forward with the actual draw. So we're going to start with the Western bracket, and then we'll come back to the Eastern bracket. So we're going to start with home side for A1, and this is for the first match of the competition, match 1. Mix the 3 balls,
Victory.
and let's see which team we're going to get.
Sounded like Montreal's bell there. First team of the Canadian Championship. TSS Rovers.
So TSS Rovers will be the home side in match number 1. Now we're going to find out who they are up against. So from pot A2, if you can mix the 3 teams.
You're coming for me.
Yeah. And we'll pull out the opponent for that opening round match.
Valor FC.
So there you have it, the first match, TSS Rovers from Richmond against Valor FC from Winnipeg. So we're going to continue the next Western match, match number 2, mix the 2 balls. And the home side for this match
Will be Pacific FC.
So Pacific FC will be the home side for the second match. And now same thing. Let's mix the 2 balls, the 2 teams there. And Pacific FC is going to go up against.
Ooh, good one. Cavalry FC.
Cavalry FC, a little bit of a familiar matchup there between those 2 sides. So now for the third match in the Western bracket, we can confirm those teams. Of course, let's find out the surprise, the home side for match number 3. And it is York United FC, who have come over from the east, and they will play in the Western bracket. And now just to confirm their opponent,
Will be Vancouver FC.
So York United FC against the debutants, Vancouver FC. So that completes our Western bracket. Now let's take a look at the East. Toss, are you ready? We're going to do the same thing.
All ready.
Start with pot B1. This is the home team. You're going to mix the 3 teams.
Yes, sir.
And this is match number 4 on the schedule.
Forge FC.
So Forge FC in Hamilton will have the home side for match 4. Let's find out who they're up against.
All right.
This is the earliest start date ever for the Canadian Championship this year. And these 6 matches will be played from April 18 to April 20.
Laval FC.
There you go. Laval will come into Hamilton to play Forge FC in match number 4. So we continue, same thing, if you can mix up the 2 teams. This is match number 5.
Halifax Wanderers.
And Halifax Wanderers, potential host, and we'll find out who their opponents will be.
Get a good mix, hey, Rich?
Good mix.
All right.
And Halifax Wanderers FC, it will be a neutral site match for this match number 5.
Atletico Ottawa.
And they will be up against Atletico Ottawa. And now we can confirm the last matchup in the Eastern bracket. This is match number 6. And the home side will be
CF Montreal.
so match number 6 at Stade Saputo. And now we can just confirm that the away side.
Good one.
Vaughan SC.
And from League One Ontario, Vaughan FC will go to Montreal for that last match from the first round. So that's it, your 2 brackets from the East and West. Let's turn it back to Andy and Gareth on the big board.
Thank you so much, Richard. So yes, the preliminary round is set. Hey, Vancouver, welcome to the CPL. You have to travel now and play York after playing what? Like they're going to be in the West Coast and they have to make that travel.
Their opening game is against Pacific FC on the Friday night. Then they're going to be traveling east to take on York United. If you're York, you like that draw. The fact that you're playing at home. Yes, you go to the Western Conference, but the fact that they play an expansion team in their first game, considering who else they could have been drawn against, I think that they're very happy. Interesting, Forge FC and Laval, that jumps off the page to me. Forge played Mount Royal last season in the first round, then went on to play an MLS team. I'm just looking at some of the paths that are created. Pacific Cavalry, I mean, you know, there's really a carrot being dangled there. You go on and win, and the path throughout that competition could open up nicely for you. The fact that Montreal stayed in the East, where they could potentially play Toronto FC, that makes the East the lopsided portion of this draw. Forge is in it. Atletico Ottawa are in it. The two finalists in the CPL last year, as well as TFC in Montreal, the power resides in the East. So if you're any one of these sides who are drawn into the Western Conference portion of the draw, then things could open up really nicely for you to make a deep run in this competition.
Whichever the teams can move on to face the MLS side. Imagine a Vancouver, that would give our graphics people a bit of a nightmare there, so be careful. But yeah, Vaughan TFC, that's the type of rivalry the president was talking about as well. So that's your preliminary round. Let's do the draw for the quarterfinal. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, so now we've got the first round. We're going to set up the potential home and away sides for the next 3 rounds. So if you guys are ready, we're actually going to start with the 2 clubs that will start in the quarterfinals. And they're in Pot D here. And we have the 2022 champions, Vancouver Whitecaps FC, and the runners-up, Toronto FC. So, Terry, if you could please draw which team we're going to look at first.
Easy, Terry. Think about it.
BC play sounds good.
Think about it.
I like the CF Montreal Vaughan. Here we go.
So we're going to start with the Western bracket. So Vancouver Whitecaps FC, they are in match number 8. And now we're going to find out if they're home or away.
This is big, right, Rich?
Let's find out. BC Place
Come on,
or
BC Place.
Another venue.
Derby could be on the cards.
Away.
So Vancouver Whitecaps FC will start away in the Canadian Championship, and we'll just confirm that the winner of match number 3, so it's either York United FC or Vancouver FC, and they will be potential for the home side in the quarterfinals. So let's take a look at the second quarterfinals. We'll confirm that should be team for our Eastern bracket.
Toronto FC.
And Toronto FC in match number 10. And so, Toss, we've got 2 new spheres here on. We'll find out whether they will be home.
Since Vancouver was away, TFC away.
Or away.
Sense, right? Home.
BMO Field it is. So Toronto FC will start this year's Canadian Championship in the quarterfinals at home, and we'll just confirm that either CF Montréal or Vaughan FC, they will be the away side.
Away.
Tough draw for Vaughan.
There you go. So we've got 2 more matches in the quarterfinals, so let's now find out. Western bracket, Terry, that will be for you. The winner of match number 1 will find out if they are either home or away.
Away.
Away. So now we'll confirm the winner of match number 2, which is either Pacific FC or Cavalry FC, if we can just open it up.
Home.
So there you go. So the winner of match number 2, Pacific FC or Cavalry FC, will be the home side in the quarterfinals. Now, Eastern bracket, let's take care of the last of the quarterfinal matches, and the winner of match number 4. So either Forge or FC Laval.
Away.
And they will be away. So let's confirm that the winner of match number 5, depending on who advances,
Home.
potential for the home position. So that wraps up the 4 quarterfinals. Let's turn it back to the big board one more time with both Andy and Gareth.
We know who's at home. We know who's away based on the results of this one. What is standing out to you here?
Well, a lot. Game at Swangard Stadium will be like turning back the clock for this opening match. And look at this. The winner of Pacific Cavalry get to host that quarterfinal matchup where they potentially won't even play an MLS team, at least in the semifinal. If there's an upset here, maybe even longer. Look at this. Vancouver FC could host the Whitecaps in Langley. That's a potential if they get past York United in that first round. Here is interesting. If CF Montreal beat Vaughan, as Terry Dunfield said, tough draw for Vaughan, TFC Montreal quarterfinals at BMO Field in Toronto. Battle of the Titans here, which really provides opportunity here for Forge Laval, Halifax, Ottawa, as well as Pacific Cavalry, TS Rovers, and Valor. Those are the two ways through the draw. So a lot of intrigue, some historical matchups, and the chance for potential, some new rivalries to emerge as well. So it's wild. You know, if TS Rovers can pull off the upset, you have 3 British Columbia teams moving on, potentially Vancouver. Like, there's some very compelling potential matchups on the horizon.
Lots to cheer for if you're in BC. And then a potential, like you said, like MLS matchup here where you're going to knock out an MLS team in the quarterfinal.
Everyone else is thrilled. All these Canadian Premier League sides, other teams playing in League One, like this is what you wanted to see. TFC Montreal early in the competition. That's a potential. Vaughan will do their best against CF Montreal, but there's work to be done there, absolutely.
Yeah, they're saying, wait a second, and it's true. Wait a second. The competition hasn't started yet. Everyone has a fair shot. Let's find out home and away for semifinal.
Thank you. All right, let's map out now the 2 matches in the semifinals. And we're going to start with the Western bracket, as we do. And if you mix up the 2 balls in there, we'll find out the winner of match number 7 in the Western bracket. They will be
home.
So they will be the home side for the first semifinal, which is the semifinal on the West. And now just to confirm that the winner of match number 8, of course, it's the match with Whitecaps,
will be away.
And they will be away for that Western bracket in the semifinals. Toss, let's look at the Eastern bracket. This is looking at the winner of match number 9.
Ready? Away.
So the winner of match number 9 will be away. And let's confirm that the winner of match number 10
home.
And they will have the home match for the semifinals. So we've got one last match before we head back to the big board, and that's the 2023 final. So same thing, Terry, you're going to have the honor. Mix up the 2 potential scenarios, the 2 tickets, and we're going to find out the winner of match number 11. So the winner of the Western bracket, will they get home or away?
Come on, Terry.
Home.
Home. And let's confirm the winner of the Eastern bracket.
Away.
So there you have it. The 2023 Canadian Championship draw. Let's take it back to the big board and one last time with Andy and Gareth.
Well, this is the question I have, and I'm sure a lot of fans are having this as we start to do the calculations, because, Wheels, as I pointed out in the quarterfinal, you're going to have possibly two MLS teams going up against each other, which means you've eliminated one heading into the semifinals. So I go back to my very first question. Is this the year a CPL team can get it done?
Potentially. The big winners of this draw for me, Pacific and Cavalry. Look, the winner of this matchup hosts the quarterfinal matchup, potentially hosts the semifinal match all the way through. That's a real chance for 2 sides. No Canadian Premier League side has won more games and has been as successful in this competition as Cavalry FC. The pressure's on. Let's see if they can take that next step. Remember, 5 minutes left in the game. Vancouver equalized last year, took it to penalties, knocked out Cavalry. Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and company has to be thrilled. And down here, Toronto FC, if they can take care of the winner of Montreal-Vaughan matchup, they potentially get a semifinal at home at BMO Field as well. MLS teams with Leagues Cup and the various competitions that they're playing in, eliminating travel, that's a big thing. So I think TFC will be very happy with this draw as well.
Well, there you go. That is how it's going to look for the 2023 Canadian Championship. When we return, we're going to be speaking with a couple of coaches. TSS Rovers coach Will Cromack will be joining us, and our boy, Vanny Sartini.
Legend.
Coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps. Always a thrill to chat with him. You just never know what he's going to throw your way. Stay with us here on OneSoccer.
All eras have a beginning. This one starts here.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the rise on OneSoccer.ca.
Once again, there's a look at the bracket for the Canadian Championship 2023, 16th edition of this championship, and the reigning champions, Vancouver Whitecaps. And Vanny Sartini is going to be joining us momentarily. We also have newcomers to the competition. Yes. TSS Rovers as League One BC champions. They are entering into this competition. This is going to be really exciting. Their head coach, Will Cromack, also joining us here on OneSoccer as we welcome you back, everyone. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler with you. Let's welcome in our first coach. That, of course, will be Mr. Vanny Sartini. It's always great talking with you. Welcome to the show. And I have to ask right out of the gate, you are going into this championship as the defending winners. How does it feel knowing that you are now essentially the team to beat?
It's a very good sensation. Yeah, it's, we're happy to be the team that the other teams want to beat. And we actually, it was pretty exciting to look of the bracket and the draw. I think it's a testament on how the game is developing in Canada. A lot of teams. I really like the fact that he had this really kind of FA Cup taste with TSS Rovers, Vaughan, Laval that can make it through it. So that's beautiful. So we're very excited about it.
There are no gimmies in this tournament whatsoever, Van, and we all know that. But there is a path for you to avoid MLS sides, potentially to the final, and play another final at BC Place. What do you make of your potential draw, some of the teams that you may face, and the fact that if you control your own destiny, back at BC Place, you can do it all over again?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. But, I think you said it before, that playing a CPL team away, it's every time really, really, really hard. So we'll have the first round against either York or Vancouver FC. And then if we win the semifinal against away, so they're going to be really, really, really hard games. I don't want to throw Toss under the bus, because today is the day of his retirement, and we're celebrating him. But he could have taken home instead of away for the first round. Right? So.
We weren't going to say anything. I'm happy you said it. But a little bit of a teaser here, Vanny, because we're obviously curious to get your thoughts on how you think you'll do in the Canadian Championship, but just how you think you'll do in the season. Like, what makes your team special that you do think you can be competitive?
A couple of things. I would say that we have. So last year we had a lot of addition, more or less at the time of the final of the Canadian Championship final. So Kubas arrived, Julian Gressler arrived, Alessandro Schopt arrived in the middle of the season, and I think that we haven't seen what these guys can really, I would say, bring to the table to the team. Then we already also add. Another important piece at the back with Matias Laborda. So I'm really happy that this season I could start the season for preseason with with the group that is going to be the core group for the season. And hopefully last year, I think we had really good moments in the season. It was a kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. We want to be consistent. That's going to be the key for this season.
Well, best of luck rest of the way in preseason, and we do look forward to the start of the season and, of course, the start of the Canadian Championship in April. Best of luck trying to defend that title.
I will, and I try to get my jersey on if we win again. Don't be worried.
No, barrel roll, shirt off.
That's not entertaining. Epic. Don't do that. That's Vanny Sartini, head coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps, who are the 2022 champions. If you missed it, don't worry. We'll be showing that viz throughout the season of him, the barrel roll and the shirt coming off, and very excited to be crowned champions. Why not? You just won a trophy. It has to feel good. So he's excited. Obviously, he's getting ready for the season. As mentioned, TSS Rovers, this is really exciting to see. I love seeing new teams in the competition as well. We talked about it growing for the first time, being 14 teams. League One Ontario, League One BC, the Quebec Premier League. So we're seeing these teams enter and also getting a taste of different kinds of competition. And we're going to welcome in now the head coach of TSS Rovers, Will Cromack, who I believe is going to be joining us here, because this has got to be really, really exciting for him.
This is why it's important that how the soccer infrastructure in this country is being built. League One Ontario is a little bit longer of a runway. There's more established teams in that league. Vaughan was dominant last season, punching their way in. The PLSQ, same thing, a little bit more established, but we just went through the first year of League One British Columbia. And the fact that a club that's comes from a different concept. Player-owned, community-owned club like TSS Rovers would go on and have that achievement. Second place in League One BC last year, but ended up beating Varsity FC to go on and punch their ticket to a competition like this. Yeah. What a moment for everyone involved in that club. And it just brings me back in the day watching Canadian soccer as a kid, games at Swangard Stadium. It just it turns back the clock for me. It's going to be brilliant to see the first game of this competition be played at an epic, a legendary Canadian stadium as well.
Turn back the clock, but we are moving forward with this sport in this country. Let's welcome in now Will Cromack. Congratulations, first of all, on being part of the championship. How does it feel? Does it feel a little bit more real now that you saw the draw, now that you know who you're going up against in the preliminary round? Just what are the overall thoughts?
Well, I mean, the first people I contacted were some of our old players who play at Valor now, and told them, you got to come home and you're going to be playing against us. I mean, it's amazing. Like, honestly, this is what we wrote down on a napkin, mildly beer stained, and said we wanted to be a part of the Voyageurs Cup, and we wanted to be part of the Canadian Championships and just be included and have this kind of pyramid begin to grow, and that we got to see it before we were out of this game. So to be in it is surreal, and we can't wait.
So Jordan Haynes, who else am I missing with Valor?
Marcello Polisi now has moved over from Halifax, and he's now at Valor. So, and then there's a DeSantos brother there that's coming back to Vancouver, right? So should be good. That's what I was
going to say, because Phil used to call Vancouver, it used to be his backyard, right? So what was the message to them other than, you should be with us, but are you confident ahead of this matchup? There's so many familiar faces involved.
Hey, listen, you have to be confident. It's football. You have to go out and you have to believe. But for every one of our players, it's an opportunity. This is all we are. We're built for the community. We're built for the players to take the next step. So if we play this game and our players move on 1 minute later because they showed well, we have done our job. That's a trophy for us. And legitimately, every time we see one of these guys move on, put a jersey on, we celebrate it. We can't wait to welcome them. So these guys coming back home to play at Swangard, they'll get a big hug from us. And then for 90 minutes, we'll hopefully kick some ass and do what we can.
Love that you're hosting too, and there is a connection obviously with some of the players with Valor. But what about the growth of the game as somebody who's been involved, and you see these League One, Ontario, BC, you obviously see the growth of the Canadian Premier League. Do you notice a change in players as well in that excitement? Because like you said, they could play for you, next thing you know they move on to CPL, next thing you know they move on to MLS or somewhere in Europe. Like, what's the change in attitude as well that you're feeling in this country?
It's monumental. I mean, I grew up in an age where the Whitecaps were just going defunct and guys had no idea where to go. CSL lasted for a time. This feels real. Like, this feels like a pure pathway where every club who in the youth can develop a player and see them move through to League One, then on to the next layer. It's a proper ladder, and it's happening. And these kids are coming in, women and men, and both going, I want to go there, and can see it. And when you can see it and you can taste it and you can be the ball girl or ball boy for that, is absolutely huge. It's enormous. Venues like Swangard, where we talk about them in the past tense, the fact that it's getting brought back. I mean, Swangard's bigger than us. This is legitimately a place where everybody can walk in and hold their kid's hand and say, that could be you. And they're showing it. And so now we're here. And you guys are helping this grow, and it's amazing. So I really do believe that every kid that shows up on our doorstep and all the League One clubs believe that they can actually be a part of this.
Love it.
Awesome.
Will Cromack, congratulations on participating in this Canadian Championship, and we do look forward to that matchup against Valor. Best of luck.
All right. See you soon. Thank you.
Head coach, TSS Rovers. There we go, 2023 16th edition. We've seen it grow from, just the MLS clubs, and you've seen some other clubs, they kind of come on in. Used to be, the two-legged affair. We've seen CPL teams defeat MLS teams in the rounds, though. Yet to see a non-MLS team, though, hoist that Voyageurs Cup. But we're starting to think it could happen.
Yeah. I think Will just cut the promo for the event.
Yeah,
because
he really did.
The one thing that, when we're doing these broadcasts, we want to see big crowds. We want to see the community come out and embrace their team in this competition. That's what it's all about. And I think we're getting there. 14 teams. This competition's matured over the years. And we'll see when those upsets, when they spring. Like players like Alistair Johnston, Ryan Raposo started with Vaughan in 2019 in this competition. They both moved on. And there's a real opportunity for the small clubs, big opportunity for the CPL clubs this season by some of the paths that are being created. And for the MLS sides, I mean, Montreal has won the last 2 times there's been an actual tournament format here before Vancouver won last year. So TFC is going to be trying to climb back to the top. They've won it more times than anyone else. Bring on the games, bring on the intrigue, and bring on some upsets, Andy.
Biggest winners? The fan of soccer here in Canada. It just keeps growing. You get to see some excellent competition. First match day goes April 18th. All of that action will be right here on OneSoccer. Hope you enjoyed the draw. On behalf of everyone, thanks for tuning in.
A new era for Canadian soccer begins today. Experience the emotion of every match. Watch all the highlights, the breaking news, the best debates, and analysis. And all the information about the Canadian stars playing abroad. Get access to the best of Canadian soccer from any device. Join the new dawn of an unstoppable game. See the